All right, we're live. Welcome to Everything Star Wars. My name is Rob. I am here. You're there. And who am I here with? A whole bunch of people. We're here with Rhodes Rants, the tough Texan. How you doing, Rhodes?
I'm back. How are y'all doing tonight, everybody? We're
Great to
holding it
see you,
down.
Rhodes.
We're holding it down.
First time I had Rhodes on my channel. I'm super excited, but he's not the only one who I have for the first time. It's my boy, the most smoothest man on YouTube, none other than John Matrixx. How are you, Johnny?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Woo, good.
Trying to stay dry, man.
Doing
It
great.
is a very, very rainy evening here in Southeast Texas.
Yeah, so I hope we don't lose them because they both live in Texas. It's a bad storm. Hopefully we get them. If not, I'll try to keep them on, or we'll just have to do another one. But
Yeah, my
And
computer went out like
Rich-
about 20 minutes before we went on, so I was a little worried.
Crap. And then we got the man who's never with any doubt. I mean, it's other than Flipp doubt. How are you, Flipp? What's going on?
Been great, man. I'm glad to be hanging out with you guys. It's been a long time since we've all been together. So feeling good, man.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, Flipp, you were on with me in the rookie last week, I think we were
Last
on.
week, it was your first stream, and you've done 7 since then, man. That just should say a lot about
Wow.
Well, you know what it is? Again,
Awesome.
hi, I just want to say hi to Rosie in this chat and hi to Yay Ron, who's been a great support in the entertainment crew. That's another new channel. You guys know the deal. You come to my channel. You can plop your channel in the chat. Feel free. By the way, I didn't say this to any Rhodes, John, and Flipp. Feel free to put your channel in the chat because people cannot click your icon anymore thanks to YouTube. I don't know if you guys know that. But if you try to click on somebody's icon, you can't go to their channel.
I
don't know why that happened. Yes, John. So I'm telling you, if you have anybody come to you, Hacker with a super chat already. Jeez, I just started. Wow, entertainment Hacker. I'd love to get him on this channel, man. I got to get him on one day.
Yeah.
Hacker, thank you so much, man. It'll show up. It's a little slow. There it is. Wow, dude. Is that is that 100 yen? I'm not even sure what that is. I don't even know that. Wow, I don't even know what that is in I have no idea.
It's $1.
But he's the best I can do. It's $1. Who cares? I don't care. Dollars, who cares? It doesn't matter. Show entertainment Hacker some love. Hacker, put your channel in the chat, bro.
Hello, JP.
Wow, that was nice of you, man. I don't care if it's $1 or $2, whatever.
I just
It's
watched.
just nice of you to do that. So.
I just watched his Luke Skywalker video. Have y'all seen what they did to Luke?
Yes, we got.
Yeah, that's a good. We can talk about that. You want to talk about that?
We
Sure.
got to talk about what they did to Empire, man.
Luke Skywalker looks like the mom from One Day at a Time in the 70s. Did anybody see that?
He looks like a very, very feminine Freddie Mercury in a way.
Yeah,
Oh,
I didn't know what
creepy.
that came from. I was like, where did this image come from? I just saw it. I was like, I didn't know what that was.
But worse.
Does
than
anybody
that,
know?
I don't know. But worse than that, man, is them basically decanonizing General Riken from Empire. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. When I saw
too.
the image, I saw that image and I was like, what is this? I didn't know if it was what it was. I didn't know if someone was drawing it but then someone said it was in a comic and I was like, but why? I didn't understand. I don't know. I didn't get it. I didn't grasp why they would make Luke. It's like everything they do with Star Wars, it's like, man, they have something personal against the old. And I don't get why you do that. It's people like me who'll take my kids to see it. So my kid can't just go to the theater themselves and say, hey, I'm going to go see it. They don't have money. It's me who's shedding my money to give to you. And then you're doing this to upset me. So it makes me like, why do I want to come back? Why would I want to see another movie? Why, if you're shooting down everything I love, why would you want to do that? I mean, I don't know. It's, and I was going to bring this up because you're like, okay, the Snyder Cut, right? Yeah, you guys are familiar with Zack Snyder's work, and he was doing the Justice League, And unfortunately, for those who don't know, because I'm a Star Wars channel mostly, but I'm trying to do some entertainment, I was reading up on it. And what happened was he was doing the movie, and then he had a family emergency. And his family emergency wound up his daughter, and she had passed. So his family had a rough time, and someone else finished the movie and did the movie and reshoots or whatever. And after that,
Joss Whedon, I think. Wasn't it his name, Joss Whedon?
It was Joss Whedon.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's Josh Whedon. Okay. You guys probably know better than me. And so then he does this, fans put a petition out there, and they want the Snyder Cut. They want to see the Snyder Cut. They want to see. Fine, and people are like, it's never going to happen. It's not going to happen. So, and finally, AT&T bought Warner Brothers, and I guess they heard everybody, and they're like, listen, let's give them what they want. And sure enough, Zack Snyder said, yeah, we're going to do it. It's going to be on HBO Max. It's going to be out there. We're going to do 4. I don't know if they're going to do 4 episodes or what. They haven't specified. I know they're getting 20 to 30 million. And then what happened, then when it finally got released, the people who said it's never going to happen couldn't admit that their sources and everything was wrong. And then they start attacking the people who are happy, who for once the fans finally get what they want in this day and age. It finally happens, and now they're a cult. And I'm sitting there like, what? Now, I didn't know none of this until I really started reading up on it the other night. That's why I got all this information. But I'll let you guys take it.
a lot of this stuff is now coming from the media. Like I did a video this morning. The source was Vanity Fair, and they wrote an article about was giving into the toxic fandom the right move, blah, blah, blah. And so now they're lumping everybody in. We're all toxic fans again. If it's not Star Wars, it's the DCEU now where we're toxic. And look, anything that the media can portray as something that might make a few white guys also happy, they're gonna toss in and call us toxic. Okay, anything where if people look like they might halfway support Trump. Let's be honest, some of the articles literally brought Trump up in the article.
It's called TDS, man, because Trump has like nothing to do with the Snyder Cut.
Nothing.
Actually, he wasn't even president, I believe, when Justice League came out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But let's face it, the fandom menace is always called what? Sexist, racist,
toxic.
Yeah, and that's directed at, guess what? Me, the redneck in Texas. Let's be honest. Let's pull the curtain back. It is what it is. That's exactly who they're talking to. And part of it is, I've said, none of this is going to change until another over 4 years from now. So, we're going to keep hearing the word toxic.
And that's another maybe.
Yeah. That's right. But that's my take. I mean, it is what it is. If they think that it's the same thing as Luke, it's just the same thing as Luke Skywalker, the Luke Skywalker fans are toxic, and Luke Skywalker happens to be blonde-haired and blue-eyed, and guess what? John Matrixx don't give a damn about that.
Nope.
I mean, he just don't. Jeremy had on a screenwriter today, and his hero was Luke Skywalker.
He was a Middle Eastern Muslim guy that works in Hollywood.
Yeah, he said he didn't give a rat's that Luke was a white boy. Who cares? That's Hollywood right now.
I mean, I've said this on many streams, and I want to get John's take, and I want to get Flipp's take on everything. To me, it doesn't matter who the lead is. I don't care. I don't care who the lead is. I don't care what they look like, where they come from, what religion they are. None of that matters. What's the story? Who is this about? It's like a book. You open a book. You see a page with writing. It's black and white. That's it. They give you a character, and your imagination tries to picture who this character is and what they're going through and what the settings are. That's it. If you give me something good to watch, I don't care what it is. I don't care who's in it. Well, you don't have to go, well, we have to make this one happy. We have to make this community happy. No, why don't you just make a movie, put out a good story, whoever the lead is, they are, and we go with it. And Hollywood just doesn't get that. They just, well, what do the fans want? Well, I don't care. How could you not care? I'm the one taking money from my pocket, giving it to you, which I've done all my life. Now you don't care. Well, if you don't care about me or John or Rhodes or Flipp or anybody in the chat or anybody else out there, then why should we give a damn about you? And that's my feelings personally, because it gets me. I try not to curse too much. I want to very much so, but I'm trying to keep a little PG here. And it really pisses me off that, like, I mean, with Star Wars came, I'm going to give you a perfect example. The Force Awakens. Well, people are upset that it's a female and a black lead.
Wrong.
I was like, who's upset with that?
No.
Who is upset with that? I'm not upset with that. I couldn't care less if that's who it is. I don't care if they fall in love. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Why would that bother me? Just give me a good story.
Yep.
I'm here to see the movie because I love something and I'm passionate about it. And that's the problem. That's the problem. We have passion, so we're toxic. We love something so much that we've been through for 30 years or 40 years. Well, you're toxic because you don't like what we're giving you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Johnny.
You want to know my initial reaction when I saw the Force Awakens trailer and the movie? We watched the trailer. We see Finn, a black guy with a lightsaber. We saw Rey. I don't remember if she was using the Force or not or whatever in the trailer. I wasn't thinking that's a black guy, that's a woman. I wasn't thinking that because we already saw Black Jedi before in the prequels. Nothing new. We've seen women in Star Wars. That's been going on since the 70s. That's nothing new. But my disappointment with the movie, when I got walked out, I was like, this is terrible, man. There's nothing new in this. And Rey has the Force. And even in the Rise of Palpatine, we still didn't figure out why she can actually do what she did. And people saying, oh, she's Palpatine. That doesn't matter. I mean, Luke is a Skywalker. His father was Vader. It didn't make any sense. But I wasn't thinking, wow, that's a black guy on screen. Even when Lando showed up in Empire, I wasn't like, that's a black guy on screen. No, I was thinking Lando's pretty cool. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the prequels, I thought Mace Windu was awesome. Like, I've always liked Sam Jackson. I think even before Pulp Fiction, like he was in Coming to America.
Yep. Anybody move, I'll blow your freaking head off.
Yeah.
What are you looking at, buddy?
I remember I was 12 or something. I nudged my friend. I was like, that dude's going to be a big actor. I don't know why. And he's like, I don't know about that. I just thought he had, really pushed that part. It was, what, a minute long, if that?
Yeah.
See, it's a slippery slope starting to say who you want to have in your movies based on race or ists or isms or, then later on you have to watch what you say yourself. And they're falling into that trap that they set themselves.
I like, okay, you guys saw the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, right?
Yep.
You guys saw that, right? I thought almost everybody in the whole thing was really great. I mean, from J. Jonah Jameson to Robbie to, I was like, wow, they really found good actors and good actresses to play the roles of these, villains and all the characters. And I was like, wow, even Flesh Tops. I was like, but man, like I thought it was really perfect, except for Venom. That was the one I hated the most. That really cringed me.
Yeah. But
besides, it should have been like Dwayne Johnson. It should have been someone huge, a big guy. Venom was not a small little guy. He's huge, So I was like, yeah, it should have been like Dwayne Johnson. He would have played a perfect Venom, in my opinion.
Should have been Tom Hardy.
And I just thought it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you, Tom Hardy. Yeah, we could have gone there too. But so I'm
he
saying
did a good job.
No doubt.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is that's what it's about. Who is best for the role? Not what they look like, where they could. Who is the best person that I feel either will be this? That's what auditions are about. Auditions are about, right. Okay, let me hear what you got to say. Say this line for me. I want to see your passion. I want to see, let me see. It's like, is this the image I picture when I say this person's name? in this series.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah, but you're not getting that right now. Remember when the High Republic got revealed by Lucasfilm and they're showing their little trailer, and then we see the whiteboard and diversity's written on there along with representation and something else.
No wars in Star Wars.
And I'm like, why is this on your brainstorming board right now? You know, talk about the story and the characters, not the fact that you literally wrote down on your whiteboard representation. What does that got to do with story? Yeah. What does it have to do with the story?
But you know, it's an ongoing thing though in Hollywood. Man. Just look at Ruby Rose leaving Batwoman. They said that the next person they cast for the role is she's gonna be a part of the LGBTQ community. Why?
Yep.
Why does that even matter? I mean, if I'm going into the interview, let's just say it's Batman, for example, and they wanted to be gay or something. They're gonna ask me, well, Mr. Matrixx, are you a homosexual? No, I'm just an actor. Well, this role is for a homosexual. I'll be like, why does it matter who I'm banging when I get home to get this job? Does that really matter? And it shouldn't matter.
I agree.
I mean,
I agree. Go ahead, Flipp.
Is there affirmative action in acting?
Last I checked, I thought that was illegal. You know, to hire somebody based on their sexual preferences. I thought that was illegal in the United States.
Thank you.
I worked years in the corporate world. If I'd have pulled that shit, I'd have got my ass sued. I'm just here to tell you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do they get away with it? And
I don't know, man.
That's what they're going to do.
I mean, imagine if Scarlett Johansson wanted to get the Batwoman role. I think she could be really good. But you remember the SJWs ran her off because she wasn't transgender in that transgender movie. I don't remember what it was. I don't even think it even came out. And she got ran off of that movie.
Yeah.
Well, and let's look. It's called actress. In other words, regardless, we know it's female. Okay, a female woman comes in, auditions.
Yeah, it's not like RuPaul's trying to audition.
Well, I mean, hey, it doesn't matter what her preference is when she is an actress. In other words, she's putting herself into a character as part of her profession. And the only thing I can think of how they tried to get around that is they want to call it art. And I don't know what the legalities are between art, but you still have a corporation doing the hiring. You're still signing a contract for a job. So I don't know how they're getting around that. It's blatant sexism and racism and discrimination. It's blatant in Hollywood.
It really is.
Yeah, it's been going on for a very, very long time. But, you know, they're going to call the fans racist and sexist and homophobic. But they're going to put in these stipulations where, well, if you're not gay, we're not going to hire you for this. Doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you look at Rami Malek, played Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody, did an outstanding job. He's not gay. And he still was able to portray the role of Freddie Mercury. And Freddie Mercury, by the way, was actually bisexual too. They cut out a whole part in his life when he was living in Germany. He actually had a girlfriend, but I digress. He did a great job, and he's not a homosexual. I mean, that's what basically Warner Brothers TV is doing right now. They're saying, well, if you're not a lesbian, you're not going to get the role, and it's just ridiculous.
That shouldn't be a qualification.
No. But I've told Rose this before, man. The CW network, man, they have gone so far with identity politics, man. I mean, tell you the truth, man, they made damn near everybody gay into the CW now. It's a bunch of them, completely different from the comic books, just to satisfy people that don't even care about your product. Doesn't make any sense.
The whole point of being an actor or actress is because you're playing a part. You know, some people the way they speak on screen is not even how to speak in real life. And I'm amazed that they could change their voice like that. If they have a thick accent and all of a sudden I'm watching a movie, I would never know that. And then when I see them do an interview, I'm like, well, wait a minute. I just saw the movie twice. How the hell to me, that's incredible. That you could change your persona, your voice.
Yes.
That's true. That's a gift. I mean, and that's what I think that you should be hired for. If you're hired, okay, this is the role, and this is the person, and this is what we're going to play. Okay, here's your lines, action.
Yes.
Show me what you got.
You want to see some really, really great acting. Look at Christian Bale in the Batman movies. And then look at him in Ford versus Ferrari. That is a tremendous contrast. And I told Rhodes, man, that was Christian Bale's best acting job in Ford versus Ferrari. That was his best acting job. Not the best movie, the best acting job he's ever done. Even though he was in his natural British accent, but still, his acting ability was so great.
The best example we can give of actors
Samuel Jackson
playing a homosexual part or parts where their sexual preference doesn't even come into the role is Brokeback Mountain, Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger.
I actually didn't see that movie.
Well, I mean, but they become, let's be honest, they become gay lovers.
Yeah.
And neither one of those dudes are, and look, I haven't seen the movie, but in fairness, every single person I know that has seen it said both of those guys are phenomenal in the movie and they like the movie. Yeah.
Michael Douglas as Liberace.
Yeah.
Did he play Liberace?
Yeah, he was great.
Wow, that's interesting.
Michael Douglas, he's not gay.
And that to me, like, okay, how about Robin Williams? Did you guys ever see years ago? It was called The Birdcage, right?
Yeah, yeah, he was phenomenal in it. Yeah,
he was phenomenal in it, and I was so like, wow, I was so into it, and I knew he wasn't, but he played the role phenomenal, and that's an actor. That's what you call acting. He didn't have to be gay to have that role. He didn't have to be part of the LGBT community to have that role. And the movie was done really good, really well, and I loved it. I thought it was funny. It was great. Nathan Lane was hysterical in the movie. I love that guy. I think he's great. So to me, it doesn't matter whether someone is lesbian or gay. It doesn't matter what color, what race, anything. If they're on the screen and they're convincing and they do the best with what they can with the script, and all of them do. I mean, I'm sorry. Sometimes it's just badly written. There's nothing you can do. So to me, that's what counts. I'm there to pay money to see something that's either going to excite me or I'm going to get into, or the story is incredible. And if I'm not going to get that, it's not my fault if you didn't put that out there. That's your fault. You're writing the movie. You're directing the movie. That's your fault. That's not my fault. And not everybody's going to like everything. Like, I could do things. I like, oh, this is a great video. And people be like, nah, it sucked. So I can't make everybody happy. That's not my goal. I wish I could. I wish I had the power to go, hey, John, I'll make you happy. Hey, Flipp, hey, Rhodes. I don't have that power. No one does. So you just, again, in life, like my father told me, God rest his soul, he told me, just do the best you can do, and that's all that can be expected from you.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I think that's what these people here, like when people went off on Ahmed Best, they went off on the little kid, I forgot his name, who played Anakin. They almost wanted, and they almost wanted to kill themselves. And they have problems now because this is and he even wrote, he said, this is a role I love. Oh, this guy's going to turn into the baddest guy in the Star Wars universe. I want to play this role. I want to play him as a kid. And I'm like, I thought he did a great job. And people are like, oh man, why are you after him? He didn't write it. He is living his dream. Someone said to me tomorrow, Rob, you want to be in our next Star Wars movie? Okay. If everybody hates it, it's something I want to do. I'm going to do the best I can, put out the best performance I can. And like Mark Hamill, perfect example, Last Jedi. What does he say? I don't agree with what you're doing, Ryan. I don't agree with it. I think you got to give the fans what they want, but it's your movie. So if it's great, good. If it's bad, well, it's on you. But I'm going to do the best with what you're giving me. I'm going to put on the performance of my lifetime to make your vision come true. I don't agree with it. I think it's the wrong direction.
It's hard
and
enough.
That's what an actor does.
It's hard enough.
Go ahead. I'll shut up.
And then for them to expect you to be literally gay or heterosexual, or could you imagine a gay person going out for a role and they're like, sorry, we need a heterosexual? They would have a hemorrhage. That would be all over the news that it was required to be a heterosexual.
They weren't even happy when Ruby Rose got casted. They said she wasn't gay enough. I shit you not. That's what they literally was writing articles about. Was she's not the most accurate representation of the lesbian community.
Yeah, I think that pressure got to her. I guess. I've listened to everyone talk about it, all you guys, in some way or another, and I know she had the injuries, right? She had
she got almost paralyzed.
Yeah, so that had to play a part. But if you saw that one little cut, I don't know if you saw Nerdrotic's video, but I was falling asleep and that popped on last night, and something about like she was being interviewed by Entertainment Tonight or somebody like that, TMZ maybe, and she said something. She'd been up for a few days and she wears the bat suit a lot, and she made a remark like she was tired of doing it. Did you guys see that cut?
I haven't seen it. No. Yeah. Watch Gary's video. It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good one. But she's clearly, in my opinion, based on that interview, she's really upset, about something.
Yeah.
And it may be a while before we find out. Like Mark Hamill was very upfront. Dangerously so.
But also, she's a movie actress. And now she's doing TV, doing all these stunts. And the crossover next season was going to be Batwoman and Superman and Lois. And that's just even more work, man. And it's just, honestly, man, the last crossover was so disappointing. So disappointing. Maybe she even knows that the character is just so bad. And the show is getting crushed. Nobody likes it. And it's probably, she feels like, I'm not even a TV actress. Let me go back to movies, do my own thing. And I can understand that. I can't blame her.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she knows down the pipe too. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Flipp. Go ahead.
I was just saying she knows what's coming down the pipe too. She's wearing this rubber suit. She made a remark about wearing the bat suit. So I've done things where I don't want to talk about what it is because we still haven't put it out, but where I have to wear a whole bunch of crap on my face, and it's a lot of work, and I'm not even getting paid for it. But if I'm getting paid to wear a bat suit, for the first few months I'm excited. But if every day it's like, all right, put it on, you're going to be in this scene, 12 hours straight. When you take breaks, just keep wearing it. I mean, I could understand that, but it wouldn't be enough for me to walk away from a good paying job that's stable. In acting careers, having a stable environment, not the environment, but like a work environment that's continuous. You're not worried about if you do like 10 pilots, right? Hopefully one of these will take off and become a show. But she had a stable, they already said season 2 is around the corner, and they gave the green light for the season 2. Something else had to be, the matter.
But they never started filming season 2.
Listen,
no, they haven't.
Now they're going to be in real trouble.
Yeah.
She said that that she had, mental issues, like I guess anxiety, depression, stuff like that. And I could understand it because sometimes like in life, sometimes it's not about money. Like I'm going to give you a sad example. Okay. Mm-hmm. Robin Williams, who I'm going back to again, because he's to me the perfect example. The guy had a family. The guy had money. The guy was popular. Who didn't love him? Not many people were haters of Robin Williams. Come on. And he winds up and he killed himself. So sometimes it's not about how much money you make. It's not what you're famous or this or that. Even though we would like thrive to have that, we'd be like, oh my God, I'd be blessed if we had that natural talent. Sometimes it's more. Sometimes it's here and it's here. And if it isn't there and I can't do this. This is not the life for me. I'm honored. She said she was honored. She was grateful and everybody who pushed her and helped her through it. But I remember reading, she said that the problem is I can't do this. This is not the life I want to live. I don't want to live where I got to work 12, 13, 18-hour days, not see people. This is just not making me happy. And you know what? If you realize that something you're doing is not making you happy, you better bail. It's best to bail, but sooner or later, it will reflect on your work. It will reflect on the people. You'll start taking it on people. All this negativity will come your way. So I think, even though I wish, again, like you said, she had stable money, great money, she was famous, she had all that, which I would love to have. I understand. I grasp the fact that if you're not happy and you know it, and this is just not working out for you, hit the high road. I understand. Sometimes it's not just about money. It's also about your true happiness.
That was my
and in life.
I can give you a real world scenario. This past week, I talked to somebody, and there's a place in town, they do mortgage work in the old field that I used to be in. And they said, hey, this is what we're paying. Do you want to come down and be a mortgage licensed person? And I was like, wow. Yikes. I had to think about it, because it was, you want to know the truth? It's $20,000 more a year than I'm making now.
Wow.
And if I do it in a year's time, I'm going to want to eat a effing bullet. I can tell you right now. Yeah. I spent 12 years in that corporate grind, and it's by and large 90% of my anxiety issues came from that lifestyle. Okay. Because what happened was, y'all know me, look at me, redneck, blah, blah, blah. But the moment I walked through those doors, Ralph Lauren suit jacket, Brooks Brothers shirt, blah, blah, I had to literally transform myself into a different individual for 9 to 12 hours a day.
I can't wait to see you wearing a suit.
And that was, look, man, I had perfect hair. I had the Superman Christopher Reeve curl thing happening. I mean, I was I go to the gym now, but I was the consummate corporate. I'm going to the gym afterwards, blah, blah, blah. Let's tan, blah, all that. Because, I walked in the next day and I'm cracking heads. But I hated my life with a passion. And we're talking 20,000 more a year. Shit, I was offered a site director job back in February. It was before the lockdown. It would have been $40,000 more a year. And I turned it down. Yeah. I did. I would rather have a little bit more struggle on the monetary side and keep my sanity. I mean, sometimes you just weigh it, Yeah.
Guys, that was my point. Like, I think it's more than Ruby's, suit that, excuse me, the suit that she was wearing. I think it's something that we don't know. Because I would agree with both those points, Rob and Rhodes. I just, I think she was unhappy, right? But go ahead.
Oh yeah, she had to have been miserable to walk away from, because look, there's a documentary out there that has to do with actors. What's it called? The guy that everybody knows, but you don't know their name. And what it's about is television and movie character actors, and they're all recognizable, every one of them. When you watch this documentary, it was on Netflix, you're like, God dang, I know that guy. I saw him in blah, blah. You can literally name the shows they've been in. But as famous as they look, and they are, they're the first to tell you in that documentary, a repeat television gig is considered gold. Gold. So if she walked away from it, that's a big deal. I guarantee you. Because she's not a movie star. Yeah, she was in movies. She was in John Wick. But she's not a movie star. She had a guaranteed income for another. CW does 24 episodes. Think about that.
It's
And
a
she
lot of
walked,
shows.
and she walked away from it. So she was miserable. Something had her real miserable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like her, by the way. She's not like Brie Larson. I like Ruby Rose. She hadn't done anything that I know of that I would say pissed me off like Brie Larson did. You know?
It's kind of
Hold
funny.
on, I just got to stop for a minute.
Okay.
I got to stop for a minute. My wife has entered the chat, so I just want to say, hey, baby, how are you? Go ahead, Flipp. It's all you.
What was I going to say? Oh, hey, Ruby Rose. You know, I go back in my mind to, because after the first and second episode of Batwoman, I didn't watch anything else.
I made it to one.
There you go. But I think looking back at how she acted, if it's true that she didn't want to do this because of some sort of a disliking the agenda or whatever, if that's the reason, if that's at least just part of the reason, that makes me remember her acting as much better than I even saw then, and it was pretty tight. Because she's like, "You see this bat suit?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's like perfection." And she's like, "But it'll be perfect when a woman wears it or whatever." But the way she delivered the line is probably not how she wanted to deliver it, if that's the reason. I say only if. So I think if you can act, you know, if you can really, because I was convinced, oh, she's down with this whole agenda and everything. Very believable.
You want to say hi? Okay,
Hi,
it's time for my daughter to say. I got to give her some hi. So first off, this is Rhodes. You remember the music you dance to all the time? Mm-hmm. That's Rhodes. So you want to say hi, Rhodes?
Hi, Rhodes.
Hey, sweetie, how are you?
Good.
And that's my buddy John.
Hi, John.
Hi, Maya.
And that's my buddy Flipp. You talked to him on the phone.
Flipp.
Hello.
I remember I talked with you on the phone.
Yep, we did talk.
Go. You want to stay? You can. It's up to you.
Okay, I want to stay.
You want to stay? All right. So, I just feel like I was saying, Flipp, and like you guys say, and Rhodes is a great example, like you said, of that. Please stop. So what happens is, you're offered this. It sounds great. Oh man, it'll be more money. My lifestyle will change. I won't be sweating money so much. But on the other hand, your job becomes something, you're more at your job sometimes than you are at home. Sometimes they're like, hey, we need you to stay tonight. Hey, shoot, man, I've been here since 9 a.m. It's now 9 p.m. I'm just going home now. By the time I get home, I eat, shower, go to sleep. I'm back again. It's like sometimes people there become like your family because you see them almost every day. It's, so you got to think about all these things are going through your head. Like, and if you're just not happy and you're miserable and you're there 5 days a week, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to do something that I'm miserable at. And I have to do this the next whatever years of my life. It's not for me. I would also turn it down. I know I would because I want to be happy. I want to.
And in that business, you're also always wondering, how long is this job really going to be around? In other words, I've seen contracts come in the last 6 months and be out the door.
Man, let me tell you, man, I've been working in oil and gas since 2013. And man, you talking about an industry where it's really good. When things are going good, it's really good. But when it is bad, it is death. And that's what we're going through right now, man. So I'm in the industry. My job is good. It pays very well. But always in the back of my mind, man, tomorrow could be it for me because we've already had multiple layoffs in the industry right now. I mean, Halliburton, about 15 minutes away from my house, man, big oil and gas company, laid off, 3,000 people or something. It's crazy. The company I work for now, they haven't done anything yet, but they're reviewing stuff right now. So it's insane, man. I mean, I already went through it in 2016, and it's worse now to me.
What did you say the industry was? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Oil and gas.
Oil and gas. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
had a couple of comments I wanted to share. Let's see what you guys, because we've been talking so much, so I want to give the chat a little. So this is a lot of comments actually from Crime Sweepers. I'm like, wow, a lot of good comments. Get your opinions on this. So he says the sequel trilogy is missing the magic that the OT and I think he meant the sequel. I think he meant the PT, the OT and the sequel trilogy have. Yeah, I think he meant the. I don't care about the new characters in the Disney trilogy. Rhodes, you can feel free.
I can tell you why that is. It's because the stories suck, and they set up they put together the worst hero's journey in the history of hero's journey. In fact, dare I say, there was no hero's journey. Okay,
I'm trying to think of, is there any one character, new character that I like?
I like, you know what? I like Poe Dameron.
But you know what, man?
Yeah.
They basically,
but that's more of an Oscar Isaac thing.
Yeah,
I think.
he's.
Rhodes? John?
Storm just got him.
Oh, no.
Crap.
That's what happened to me on Flipp stream.
Well, we'll see if we get him back. I don't know if we lost him or not. Crap. Hoping I get him. I'll leave him there. Since he's the smoothest man on YouTube, I'm just going to leave him there, so the ladies can get a good look at him and stuff.
I'm actually about to y'all proceed. I'm going to snip his frozen picture out of there right quick.
Cool.
Go ahead, man.
I liked Finn in the very first one, The Force Awakens. Believe it or not, I thought he had a really great arc that they were working toward. I thought you froze, Rhodes, but no, he was just being still. But I liked him. I thought that they were going to make him a Force wielding, Jedi, and they put him in the poster with this right here, with the lightsaber. He got the lightsaber at one point, and I'm like, okay, cool. But we can't have the patriarchy, no matter what color or what sexual orientation they are, having the lightsaber for long. So that was an issue for me. And it was clear. It was obvious. That's really why it bothered me. Did I like the idea of a woman being a Jedi? Yeah, I thought it was fine. Having had done it right, of course, backstory character. We've said this a billion times, but I liked Finn.
I think that they could have, listen, there was so much they could do. Listen, like, we've had Ahsoka Tano, right? We've had Mara Jade in the EU. It's not, we've had others in the prequel trilogy. I forget the names off the top. I see the characters in my head, but I can't think of the names off the top. Barriss O'Keefe we had. So we've had, that didn't bother me. Okay, great. We have a female Jedi. Okay, we've had before. What's the big deal?
It never bothered me. It never
bothered me either. You know what bothered me? Finn had the potential, and I think people were talking about this on Twitter too recently.
A ton.
He had the potential to be a kick-ass story. The whole thing, the whole character, the arc. It was like, wow, he defected. Wow, maybe he gets lightsaber now. He's the one who starts with Kylo, and Kylo's like, whoa, what the hell? Maybe he held that back, And even Maz Kanata, right? She gives him the weapon, and what does she say? This is the only weapon you need. And I'm like, wait a second. Wait, is something going on I don't know about? And what bothered me is we still had questions. How'd she get the lightsaber? Well, that's a question for later. Well, where's the later? We're still waiting. Still later. I haven't got the answer. And to have, like I said, Johnson came in. And him and JJ, I don't care how nice they try to perceive it because they want cash. They want another movie so they can make more money. And I get it. And they're trying to say, well, Johnson didn't ruin the movie for me. Really? Okay, so where's Rose Tico?
JJ hates his guts.
Of course.
Hates it, loathes his ass. Because you trashed everything I set up in the second. Look, I said The Force Awakens was the easiest sequel in the history of planet Earth to ever made. Any of the three of us, a frozen John Matrixx, could have sauntered in to the director's chair. We all could have made a competent sequel to The Force Awakens. It was a slam dunk, and somehow Ryan Johnson goaltended the damn thing.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it ever. It's ridiculous. And going back to Finn, Jesus, Finn had a ton of potential. A defecting stormtrooper is force sensitive and becomes a Jedi. It could have been historically great in Star Wars lore. Finn could have been unbelievable because look, John Boyega's a good actor.
He's really
he
good.
is a good actor.
Yeah.
And they blew that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I got knocked out by the storm. I'm back now.
Well, don't worry. I snipped your picture, so I've got it forever.
But what I was gonna say about Poe, man, I don't even like Poe. You know why?
Wow.
The Rise of Palpatine, man, they tried to make him Han Solo, running spice. I was like, they're fresh out of ideas, man. This guy has no backstory. There's nothing interesting about him. We don't know anything about him. That's not one character that I like.
He could have been the new Han, by the way, if they'd have done him right.
Yeah, I mean,
he was cool. He was cool.
Everything about this sequel trilogy, they tried to, just take old stuff and rehash it. They tried to make Maz Kanata Yoda, and then Maz Kanata has no role in the next two movies. And Lupita Nyong'o is a very good actress, and they wasted her. I just don't understand it, man.
Well, think about it. The Last Jedi is the only movie that I know of where you come out of it absolutely hating the performances of two of our greatest actors and actresses, Laura Dern and Benicio del Toro, were awful in those two movies. You literally one of the best actresses, one of the best actors ever, and you ruined both of those actors and actresses in one movie. That's how badly your movie was written. Man, that interview at Geeks and Gamers right now is phenomenal about how screenwriters really feel about that movie.
They hate that movie. But to get back to honestly, for me, man, The Rise of Palpatine is probably the worst ending to a movie ever. Maybe because I'm completely invested in Star Wars.
No, I agree.
And the last words of that movie, I'm Rey Skywalker.
No, you're not.
No.
You're Rey Palpatine. And a Palpatine won the Skywalker saga.
Palpatine won.
I still think they're setting up 3 more sequels.
Yeah, it's gonna be called remaking episode 4, 5, and 6 because they're already doing it.
I hope so.
And boy, the backlash is gonna be massive when that happens.
The ending I would have made, and I agree with you, would have been like I made a video, but I'm sure you guys didn't see it. I made a video where, and I did a little editing, and basically the whole thing, she goes back, she buries the lightsabers, she sees them, but when she turns this time, she sees Palpatine. And she says, I'm Rey Palpatine. And instead, she kills the woman. And then she just walks away. And BB-8's like, what? What the hell just happened here? Yeah. And then that would have set up the next trilogy, which would have been
better in
Finn. It would have been Finn versus Rey. Rey would have been the new, because you remember Palpatine said, if you kill me, I'm now all the Sith. So we're going to come into you. You're my granddaughter. And I think that's exactly his essence. Should have went, so it appeared that she won and they won, the Jedi's won. But guess what? Palpatine still lives on. He lives on with his granddaughter. And she would have been the next one. And Finn, and you could have seen Finn at the end like, oh my God, Rey. Oh my. And Finn could have been the next person to go against Rey. I think that would have been phenomenal. You can get Broom Boy and you can get whoever else. And, that's what I would have done.
In a vacuum, that would have been a phenomenal ending if the first 3 movies wouldn't have sucked to get her there. That would have been that's the problem with Rey.
It would have been unbelievable her turning to the dark side.
Yep.
We all knew going into The Rise of Palpatine, there was no way in hell that she was going to turn. You just knew it. But going into Return of the Jedi, you really thought Luke was going to turn. That was a real possibility. But Ray, being the Mary Sue that she is, facing no struggles. Oh God, I just want to. I still can't get that image out of her head with 2 lightsabers, and Palpatine goes out like a chump.
And keeps shooting himself. Technically,
yeah,
makes no sense.
Yeah.
But he didn't learn the first time from Mace Windu, right? So he said, "Oh, I'm just going to do the same thing again."
That's not even the real Palpatine. That's the clone Palpatine.
Right now they're saying that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if it's a clone and it's his essence or whatever it is, his spirit lives on in the clone or whatever. Listen, I mean, if it didn't work the first time, it's not going to work the second time. So
they got to scrap it. Yeah. They've got to shit can those 3 movies before it's said and done. They got to. They got to treat. Look, they need to take a page out of horror movies and the horror community when a franchise moves along and they're like, you know what? We made 4 sequels and they freaking sucked. So let's act like it didn't happen. And boom, you get a new movie that's what happens.
No,
when Halloween came back 2 years ago, they said, "Oh, now I'm going to tell you, I was critical of them for doing that, but it works in some horror franchises, other ones it don't. It depends on what part of the story you decide to scrap. But that's what happens in the horror community. You make 3 bad sequels, we act like it didn't happen. Bam. We make a new one and we let the marketing go out there that the movie starts. What we found out with Halloween, the movie starts, it ended with the first Halloween. Everything that happened in between did not count. It doesn't matter. Not part of canon anymore. It's gone. Boom. You just come back after The Mandalorian and you restart the sequel trilogy. Boom. Just restart it. Take a page out of the horror community and do it.
Let me ask you this, guys. Do you ask Mark Hamill to come back again? Yes.
He's the only one that can. Carrie's dead and Harrison's too ornery to ever come back. Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't even think Mark Hamill will want to come back.
He will if George Lucas is doing it.
Well, yeah, it would take George Lucas having control. If it's Kathleen Kennedy,
no
way in hell he's coming
it
back.
Cannot be done under her watch. It cannot be done under her watch. No.
Speaking of what you guys just said, Crime Sweeper said Mark Hamill's Star Wars better than he knows Star Wars better than Kathleen Kennedy, better than Ruin Johnson, and better than anyone on the set of the sequel trilogy. And that's what you guys are talking about right now. So
pretty much, Kathleen Kennedy cannot answer a Star Wars question. She has never answered a Star Wars question. Watching that making of The Mandalorian, she was in there and she brings up Indiana Jones.
She's clueless.
I was like,
she looks terrible in that documentary series.
Yeah, there's a new episode too. I got to see it. I didn't see it yet.
I'll watch it.
Mandalorian documentary series.
Yeah, she shows up in episode 2 of it.
Yeah,
and they're talking they're talking about making Star Wars and stuff. She brings up Indiana Jones.
Yeah. And I swear to God, if Kathleen Kennedy did not raise her hand, Jon Favreau would never call on her. I mean, no kidding. She literally raised her hand at one point. And I was like, Jon Favreau's just acting like she's not even there. You know?
In that documentary, guys, when you watch Kathleen, if you look around them, they're all standing in the volume. If you're looking for Kathleen Kennedy, tell yourself, I'm not going to focus where they want me to. I'm going to look at the background and see who I see. I did that, and I see Kathleen Kennedy, and when she walks over near people, they walk away from her. Yeah. It's not all peaches and cream over there.
Well, and Favreau's body language towards Kathleen Kennedy, I've been watching it a lot in those round tables, and he's very leaned away from her. He's always sort of turned in more of a direction away from her. Mm. There's some drama going on between those two right now. It's interesting.
And that's the rumor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, you know what it is? When George finally decided, okay, listen, I'm done with this. I didn't like the backlash I got from I can't tell my story. I want to tell my story. So you know what? Let me give it to somebody who might, do better than I did. So he gave it to Disney because he was close with them. He worked with them. After all, Star Tours is there. So that's why he gave it to them. He trusted, and he said, "Okay, listen, I'm going to put you're my understudy." He's talking to Kathleen, hoping that she'll represent George. So if Disney and Luke decides, well, we want to go this way, we want to go that way, she's going to say, no, wait a minute, wait. Look at what George wrote. Let's not go that way. George doesn't want it to go that way. And I know he sold it to you, but let's try to keep his story for the next 3 and then go whatever way you want to. This is what he expected from her. He expected Kathleen to be his voice. And during an interview in the way beginning, with her sitting there right next to him, 10 feet, social distancing, she's there. He says the following: I gave you guys a treasure trove of stuff. You got comic books, you got books, you got stories, you got, the movies I wrote that didn't finish completely. You got all this stuff to go with. You can sit on a gold mine here. I want to work on different things. I've done enough. I'm happy with what I've done. And I know the fans want more, and I want to give the fans what they want. Beautiful. You want to give the fans what you want. That's terrific. Go ahead, John.
That's not 100% accurate, because when George sold the company, George himself was planning on doing 7, 8, and 9 under Disney's watch. And George wanted 100% creative control over those movies. And Bob Iger told him, no, he can't do that. That's when George officially decided to retire. But that's when he blindsided Bob Iger and brought in Kathleen Kennedy, because Bob Iger mentioned that in his book. He's like, Kathleen Kennedy. And that's what happened. So George brought her in because he thought that she would make his movies. And she would basically become a puppet. And that wasn't the case. That's the way it really happened.
Meanwhile, she's all like,
bingo, exactly. Because George knew that she didn't know anything about Star Wars.
Right.
Nothing. She was supposed to be there to be a puppet. And that's it. And it backfired on George.
And evidently she was not shy about the fact that she thought she was about to push some kind of historic agenda.
And it's failed massively. Yeah. Each movie's made less and less. And God, I can't even imagine the 2022 movie. I mean,
that's the fight now.
What's that?
Well, that's the fight now. The fight, supposedly the rumor is that the people with Favreau and his people with Kennedy, and so they got their little clash going on. And she's also responsible why we didn't get the Tatooine Cantina and why we got what we got in Galaxy's Edge. It's because of her.
Yeah. It's because of her.
They already, as far as I understood, they were,
I got to tell you, man, if they don't get rid of her,
that's ridiculous to me. It's like,
if they don't get rid of her by the end of this year, the movies, it is over for the movies. Completely over for the 2022 movie may do solo numbers. How bad it is. Because the only reason why The Rise of Palpatine made over $1 billion, which is a disappointment, because you got the Skywalker name in that. People want to see what Lucas is going to do again. Now with these new movies, they're completely going away from all of that. So it's going to be a bunch of characters nobody knows, nobody cares about. I mean, they lost money on a Han Solo movie. This 2022 movie is in bit trouble.
There's one beacon of hope, but I don't know which movie he's doing. I did a video from WDW Pro, a leaker, and he says that Taika Waititi's movie, Kathleen Kennedy, has no creative control over that film.
We'll see, but remember, we heard some rumors too about The Rise of Palpatine, where Kathleen Kennedy was running to Bob Iger, and Bob Iger gave in. Yeah, as long as she's there, I'm not even going to believe any of that.
Because J.J. Abrams was going to give us the Son of Mortis at George Lucas's recommendation as the villain.
Yeah, and Son of Mortis, man, if they was to do that, Son of Mortis should have been the villain from the get-go. Yeah. That still probably wouldn't have been good. I mean, there was nothing that was going to make this last movie any good because you had no villain.
Could have been better. Anakin would still have a legacy right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh God.
That's my.
Yeah, that's the big deal right there.
Yeah, the last words from Anakin is, "Bring balance to the Force, Rey," as I once did. That's Anakin's last words.
I couldn't even hear his last words. There were so many freaking.
Yeah, the only way you can really, honestly, you can make out hardly any of that stuff. I mean, you have to read it. I read the stuff. I knew everything about the movie before the movie because all the leaks were 100% accurate.
Wow. So what is the Taika Waititi movie? Do you guys think it's going to be a Boba Fett movie, or what do you think it is?
I don't know.
Just
that's a great. You know what? I think it's going to be a Mandalorian movie.
Feels like, oh yeah, it could be.
Yeah. There's been a lot of rumors about there being a spin-off feature film, and with the timing of that, it makes me wonder if that movie is going to be the end of the series.
I'm not excited for any movie, man. None of these movies. Yeah. I don't even know, man. You know what? It may be a High Republic movie because they're going to put out this High Republic stuff this summer.
And we don't know what movie Taka's is either. Yeah. He may be the 2026 movie for all we know.
That, man, here's the other concern.
Yeah.
We don't know what the 2022 movie is going to be. There's no pre-production, no planning, nothing. They haven't announced anything. They were supposed to announce it in January. Didn't happen.
Because I was going to say, according to Kathleen Kennedy, she said there's so much Star Wars to go forward, so much. And now we always hear about who's going to direct and who's going to write and who's going to direct. So if you know where you're going with it, why don't you just announce it? If you're sitting there saying you got 22 and 24 and 26, okay, we're going to get one every 2 years now. That's the new rumor.
Because she has no plan. The lady got up at Star Wars Celebration last year and told us that the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show, all the scripts were done, and they're going to start filming. And we find out, oh, they're not done.
And by the way, that Obi-Wan project, which the TV series is just coming off an expansion of the original movie they planned. That movie had been in development for 6 years.
Yep. That was before the Force Awakens.
She's a lying tramp.
I mean, how can you mess up Obi-Wan Kenobi? You got Ewan McGregor. How can you mess that up?
Well, she said she'd read the script.
That will be the same.
And you know the time period where it's going to be happening. It's going to be between Sith and Episode 4. How can you mess that up?
She didn't read the scripts till frickin' December and was like, "Oh, it's too much like The Mandalorian."
I don't know.
Is it even that?
That's what the word was. It was too much like The Mandalorian, so she wanted to scrap it.
Well, it's like goes back to our conversation earlier where we were talking about on the roundtable documentaries or whatever that she's getting dissed. Clearly, she is. The one specific one is at the table where she has to raise her hand to get to talk, and but yeah, so there. Yeah, I suppose maybe she herself said, "You know what? Forget this thing, and we're gonna rewrite everything." And then, John, you bring up the High Republic movie. I think we all agree here that those characters look terrible. We've literally seen Stephen Wayne Art do a better job. You guys have seen that Twitter where he did the art.
Yeah, he improved those characters immensely when he got a hold of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just want to see something good. They have upped her contract, a few years back or what. I don't even remember. It's all a big blur.
That was 2018.
Yeah. Okay. And so it's supposed to extend till January 2021. Is that right?
Somewhere around there.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So if they had a chance to ditch her after The Last Jedi, that blows me away. Like
you can't fire a woman in Hollywood.
Grace Randolph says that I guess she talked her way out of it with Bob Iger. Grace Randolph swears up and down Bob Iger was ready to let her go, offered the job to J.J. Abrams, and when he said no, then evidently Feige didn't want the job at the time because Homecoming still hadn't come out. He technically wasn't done with the
and I'm glad JJ
MCU thing.
I'm glad JJ didn't take that job because Star Wars would still be crap with him.
Yeah, going in, I thought JJ would be. I kind of like the stuff he did with Star Trek. I know. Please don't start hating me in the chat.
I did too, actually.
Yeah. But then he just, it's a completely different story with Star Wars. Completely.
So Zach said, I've had this posted before. He said, what we really need is someone who loves Star Wars just as much as the fans. And I agree. I've always agreed with that. Like I see these fan films, and these are about people with big time budgets and millions of dollars. These are about guys who are whatever they budget they put out there. And when I see what they put out there, I'm like, for a fan film, this is just, you could see the love, the passion. They get the character down. They it's not like you sit there, okay, there's minor things you could nitpick and say, well, this isn't right or this isn't right. But for what it is, it has more heart and more soul than what we get. It has a story. And you're compelled, like right away, I get right into it. Like they did a Kenobi fan film. And I was right into it. Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
Jamie Costa. That was good.
Yeah.
Great.
And you see stuff like this. Now, Vader Reviews has got a fan film coming out. I don't know if you guys caught that, but you know, and you could see like he's a Darth Vader guy, and it looks the lightsaber fight looks incredible. I was like, whoa, boom, 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 boom. It was like, whoa, it was pretty good. So to me, these fan films, which I'm now starting to really get into. How about Darth Maul Apprentice? Amazing.
I love that one.
You know, Shards of the Past. I mean, I could go.
Yeah,
I go on and on.
The Vader fan film for me is probably, I would say, I thought it was my favorite until that SC reimaged Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Vader came out.
Oh, that was great.
And that was, I got to tell you, other than The Mandalorian, that's the best live action Star Wars I've seen since Revenge of the Sith. Was that SC reimaged, and it added so much emotion and depth to the story at the end of that fan film when Vader starts processing all the conversation between himself and Obi-Wan from Mustafar, and you hear him, I hate you, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I mean, I actually watched my reaction again the other day. And because I was like, I wonder if, I want to see my reaction to that again. And I was watching, I was like, oh shit, that fucked me up when he said that. Excuse my language, because that brought all the Star Wars emotion, I hate you. And you hear him, you are my brother, and I'm like, oh man, that was tremendous. Star Wars. That is Star Wars.
Maybe for me,
Disney can't capture.
Before I forget this story, I just want to tell you, Rose, before I forget this thought, since you mentioned that, I heard through the grapevine that they're making another one, and it's going to be Luke versus Vader from The Empire Strikes Back. So I just thought I would tell you that. That's what I've heard. I don't know how true that is, but I heard that they're making it now. That's what I've heard.
That's dangerous because that's my favorite lightsaber fight.
I would not touch that one because that fight.
I wouldn't either.
That fight wasn't about the action. I wouldn't either. They're not going to be able to top
I think it's more about the action.
Yeah, they're not going to be. The thing is, it works out so perfectly because Luke, he's undertrained. He shouldn't stand a shot against Vader, and he didn't. And they can't recreate the "I'm your father" thing. They just cannot do that.
You know what? If we go to Empire Strikes Back, since it was the 40th anniversary, and so I'll bring that up. And there's also the 15th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, one of my favorites. Top 2 probably movies of any Star Wars fan, gotta be. There was one part I remember when Luke actually hit him in the shoulder, and I was in the theater like, whoa, he got a shot in, But then all that did was anger him even more. And I was like, maybe that wasn't a good thing.
I was wondering why he was feeling pain. But maybe his internal circuits are connected to his nerves and stuff. I don't know.
Right.
Most likely so, because remember when he got his hand cut off, he said, So I guess it is connected to his nervous system.
Well, do remember this: his shoulder wasn't chopped off, you know. And so his upper body was still there. I mean, he lost his legs and his one arm, but he didn't lose his whole upper body. So I was thinking, okay, that could be the reason. His hand, though, I didn't understand because I'm like, it's mechanical. Like, I don't know. That's the one I didn't get. Everybody's bringing their pets here. Where's my dog? I don't see this.
But she came in.
This cat come across. You got your cat there. I'm like, hey, wait a minute.
I can't help it.
You got your kid there. I'm the one who's alone, so.
You got 3 kids, though, buddy. You got enough going on there.
Yeah, fair enough. Finally alone time.
Flipp's like, I'm that guy, okay?
You need to get on that website and get a cat or a dog.
And she's really purring in my ear.
Here's a question. Here's the question I really wanted to bring up because we were talking about sequel trilogy. We were talking about Finn. We're talking about Poe. There was a part in The Last Jedi that I think is the worst Star Wars scene ever that I've seen. And it was when Finn was going to take out. It was when Finn was going to go take. Oh, there goes Philip. He's going to get somebody. He's like, hey, come in here. I'll keep you company. Bring him in. Bring him in. Bring him in. Bring him in. So when Finn was going to take out the cannon, I thought it was epic. And I was like, wow. And I actually was feeling that. I was like, oh, man, this is the most heroic scene of the entire movie. And what happens? Rhodes takes him. I was like, oh, my God, man. If I ever wanted to walk out of the theater, that was the moment. That
it was a
moment
huge miss.
has
it was
irritated
a huge miss.
me.
Yeah.
And what is amazing is, first off, so she passes out. She gives him a kiss. She passes out. And it's somehow, with all the First Order all around them and tanks and walkers and everything, they make it all the way back. And they make it to the Falcon. And they're fine at going that fast. None of that made any friggin' sense to me. Why didn't you just blow them away? Why didn't you just, Huxley just said, hey, you see them? Blow them up. Or get them, or bring them here. What? How do they make it all the way to the Falcon?
And the people who were asked that, I remember hearing somebody on YouTube or some thing, I don't remember what. They were like, it's a stupid kids movie with space wizards and laser swords. Get over it. That was their answer.
You don't get Star Wars.
Yeah.
You don't do the Star Wars, okay? We don't need your opinion. Right. Obviously. Yeah. The Empire.
Listen, when I did creators questions, I did questions for creators, right? Rhodes told a great story of how much Star Wars meant to him. John told his story. Everyone I got 27 videos of people telling me what Star Wars meant to them. It wasn't just a movie. This is something that was their childhood. This is something that got them through a horrible time in their life. This is something that got people like, man, I was going through A and B and C, and this one died, or I went through this, or someone was abusing me or bullying me or whatever. And I was fascinated with the replies I was getting. That's why I did it. It was incredible to see. It wasn't just a movie. It was something that actually saved some people. And people don't get that. People don't get, especially this generation, don't understand what some people have gone through from bullying. See, bullying nowadays, what do? They grab a gun, they go shoot up a school, right? We didn't do that. We got bullied. It was rough, man. It was rough. I remember what I went through. And to this day, when I'm stressed, when I'm tired, when I'm irritated, I put on the game. I go, like, later on, I'll put on the game. You guys will be sleeping. I'll put on the game, and a bunch of guys will come with me, and we'll have a crew of anywhere from 4 to 8 people, and we'll just have a phenomenal time. Whatever problems I'm having, they're having, man, we either talk about it and we get along, and it gets us through being part of that world, getting away from my life sometimes, because of all the stresses and the bills and I got to do this and I got to do that and all that. It's life-saving. When you can, so 40 years of my life, when I had something to fall back on, and not say, well, I want to hurt myself. Well, I don't, I'm this, I'm that. I'm going to do all these horrible things. And Rhodes, I know it. I watched your video. It was very moving, very powerful to me. So if anybody goes back and watches them, you hear the people talk about what it meant to them. It was incredible. I mean, it was not the answer you would get from like a Harry Potter fan. So I just like the movie. No, it wasn't like I just like the movie.
Star Wars took over our household.
Yeah,
it did. From the moment. Oddly enough, I actually had some Star Wars toys before I ever saw a movie. My earliest memory is my father. One time I was sick. I believe I would have been something like probably 3.5 years old. I'd have been really young. But my earliest memory was I was sick, and I was sick a ton as a kid. I mean, a couple of times really bad. But he brought home some toys, and it was Star Wars figures. The original Kenner, 77 figures. I can name you the figures he brought me. I remember. I can still remember the look of the house that we lived in at the time.
Wow.
He brought me Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's it right there. That's
nice.
That's it. There's the Stormtrooper. He brought me Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader. There you go. That's it with the cape. Princess Leia, and he brought me R2-D2 and Chewbacca the Wookiee. Okay, I didn't know who these characters were from nothing. I didn't know where they came from or anything. And then I didn't see the original Star Wars. Now I'm young. And then we get up to 1980, and I see, they had movie trailers back then, and you're watching whatever, and they show the trailer to The Empire Strikes Back, and I'm like, well, there's that guy that I've got the figure for, the guy in the black suit, and there's that dog thing that I always see that I've been playing with all the time, Chewie, right?
Yep.
And I remember it, man. Athens, Texas. My mother was taking me to the movie. She said, what do you want to see? I still remember the blue Empire Strikes Back poster. There's a dark blue poster for the Empire Strikes Back. And I pointed at that poster and I said, that's what I want to go see, Mom. I was 5 years old. It was one of them on the square downtown theaters. Back in the day, it was a town of 2,500 people, in Texas. So we go in and we see that, and the shit changed my life. I mean, changed my life. I was like, Yoda. I mean, Yoda shows up on screen for the first time, and he's talking, and then Luke's doing the training, and Yoda lifts the X-Wing out of the swamp, and it's just like, and that is why you failed. And I mean, it was just everything in our household. Empire Strikes Back sleeping bag, which actually became my comforter forever, that was on my bed. I still got that sleeping bag, by the way.
I had that.
Yeah, I still got it. It was everything. I mean, our house, I had curtains, the figures, the whole nine. And I can remember Return of the Jedi too, lining up, 1983, way down the sidewalk to get into that because there was a lot of people there,
Oh yeah.
It was life changing. Star Wars was life changing. It was look, I'm just gonna say this: Star Wars for people is akin to religion. It became a religion for people.
Yeah.
It was a cultural religion that started around Star Wars, and that's what Disney does not understand.
Yep.
Yeah.
They know it.
John,
they
you still
probably
with us?
don't care. Yeah, I'm here. That was too blurry on the camera.
Gotcha. John, I'm going to ask you this. Do you feel, and then we'll go to Flipp, Rhodes, we'll go in that order. What would you do if you're in charge? There's no Kenny. You're in charge. You're the man in charge. What do you do to change this around? What would you do?
Well, first off, I'm retconning the entire sequel trilogy. All of it. It's all got to go. I'm bringing back in George. We're going to listen to George. There's going to be no agendas. Not only am I getting rid of the sequel trilogy, there's no High Republic. Actually, you know what? Tell you the truth, I'm going to scratch everything, including Rogue One, which I like. I'm scratching everything.
Oh.
It needs a complete makeover. Completely. We're going to go back to the board. George is going to come in. Favreau Filoni is going to be there too. We're going to make episode 7, and we're going to do it right. We're going to get Mark Hamill. Harrison Ford may not want to come back. So, maybe the storyline could be something like, they're two twins, they turn dark side and they kill both their parents or something. I don't know. That'll be the excuse for why they're not there.
Yeah.
And you just got to go from there.
Yeah. Flip, what would you do?
Well, I was going to ask John real quick. Do we get to keep Mandalorian in that, or is that scratched too?
I would say it'll be worth it to scrap everything.
Okay.
Because the Mandalorian, well, I guess technically Mandalorian, what we know so far, nothing is tied into the sequels.
Right.
So even though we heard a rumor talking about they were going to find the origins of the First Order. So I guess technically you can keep the Mandalorian, but also the Mandalorian, I would really expand that even more because I still feel like that show is a little bit handicapped by Disney. A little bit.
I'd tie it into the new trilogy by the time it's said and done, somehow.
Yeah.
And then you've got a shit ton of backstory for at least ancillary characters, maybe. I would keep Rogue One and I'd keep the Mandalorian. I'd keep Rogue One because it fits into the backside of A New Hope.
Yeah, but I'm
like
just
a glove to me.
I'm just saying, to completely get a fresh start, you got to let everything go.
And I'd keep the Clone Wars.
It'll be worth it. Yeah, well, Clone Wars is staying because that was previously existing.
Yeah.
What about you, Flip? What would you do?
Yeah, I think I like the idea of keeping the Mandalorian so much as if this happens before season 2 in this scenario. If season 2 goes off into linking it with these sequels, no, I wouldn't keep that at all. So I kind of agree with both of them in that respect. But Rogue One, I agree with Rhodes on. It does fit nicely up to A New Hope. But if you had Rogue One, and if all this happened and I could do the special edition, I'd probably let who's the blind guy? I can't remember his name. I can't.
Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen's character, yeah. I'd have him use her freaking. She has this kyber crystal right here. Put it, he'd have a lightsaber. Everything about the sequels really is the only thing I would completely trash. And I agree with you on that, John. That would have to go completely. Yeah. But other than that, yeah, I agree.
Nothing from the sequels would stay.
Nothing.
No, nothing.
And I most certainly want Mark Hamill back. And if I could, I would try to get Harrison Ford. But if I couldn't get him, I'd get Anthony. What was his Ingruber? And I'd do flashbacks, for Han Solo and his children. And of course, I like the idea of the twins, Anakin Solo and Jaina Solo, killing their father and mother. That's a kind of a cool idea. I'd be down with that.
Yeah. I mean, I would much rather them actually be alive, Han and Leia, but it's not going to be possible.
You want to know the truth? I'd say Han and Leia passed of natural causes.
Yeah.
Just passed of natural causes.
For a write-off.
Let their story stay intact. Yeah. Don't even touch it.
You know
Just
what?
Let it stay intact.
That could kind of be an extension of the Anakin thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anakin didn't want his mother to die. Padme died. No, it's just natural. They couldn't control it. So Han and Leia died, and their kids are traumatized by it because they weren't strong enough, and they're trying to finish what Vader started, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, and I thought that Disney was going to keep in their history with always making sure the mother's dead. Not that I wanted that. I'm just saying I assumed that Leia wouldn't be alive, and which especially after she passed in, what was it, December 2016, Carrie Fisher? So 2016.
Yeah.
I thought, well, that's that. We know that Carrie Fisher's not in the next one now, and obviously we know what happened. That was really weird and, in my opinion, very disrespectful altogether. The way they did it, not that they did it, the way they did it.
Yeah.
But
let me ask you guys this: whose death was just more stupid, the way Luke died or the way Leia died? That's tough.
I say Luke. I'm going to say Luke because how do you have a force power that you're going to wind up dying from? Who would want to learn? I wouldn't want to learn a force power if it's not going to make me more powerful.
They're both.
Or if it's not going to be able to help somebody. If it's going to be able to kill me and serve what purpose? That I go across the galaxy, say hi. They have communications for that, right? We see that in the Clone Wars. When one Jedi is in a war, they show up through that fob or whatever you call that thing, and they show up and say, "This is General Kenobi. We're fighting right now. We need more troops." Blah blah blah. He's not dead, right? So why would you need a force power to do? What is the purpose of that? So I think Luke's is way more stupid. Leia, at least, listen, she was older. She gone through a lot. She was about to lose her son. She lost her husband. That's a lot mentally. Again, I think I'm going to go back to that mental thing. For me, mentally, if I knew I was losing my son, I lost my husband, I feel like I lost my planet. I lost a lot here. I lost my brother. What more? How much more can I live for?
Well, Rob, I'm going to say it's Leia.
That's just how
I'm going to say it's Leia because all she did was just call out Ben's name, and that was a wrap. I know Luke was stupid too, using the force. He was sweating and everything, but all Leia did was Ben and just croaked.
And somehow, to me, that still feels more realistic than Luke ODing on the force.
They're both stupid. They're both stupid.
He OD'd on the force, folks.
And you know what? Now that I think about it too, man, Ben Solo, the way he died was stupid too.
I agree.
Ray's
I
dead.
agree.
Yeah.
He comes back.
Okay.
And he brings her back to life. Ray couldn't give her her life force too.
How would y'all felt if Ben would have just lived and Ray died?
I would have been much more happy.
Me too.
Yep.
Well, if you're gonna do force whatever healing or whatever, what about Luke? Don't you think that Luke might have sacrificed himself so his father could live, or Anakin might have sacrificed himself so Padme could live? Wouldn't somebody have sacrificed themselves so someone else could live?
The whole force power is stupid.
I mean,
yeah, but think of this, man.
Scrap the trilogy.
It would have been It would have been more interesting if Ray died, Ben Solo lived, and then you set up a new trilogy with Ben Solo. We never seen a guy that fell to the dark side and came back to the light and lived. So that would have been interesting, probably going forward with Ben Solo. How is he going to make it in this world now as Ben Solo when everybody knows him as Kylo Ren and he's done all these bad things, and now he's redeemed, but he's still alive? And that would have been interesting.
I'll tell you this, in a vacuum, at the end of that movie, when he got a hold of that lightsaber and those Knights of Ren was around him and he went, "Come on," I was like, oh, he'd have been a cool ass Jedi. If they would have let Adam Driver be the Jedi and bring Han's swag to being a Jedi, I was like, oh, okay, that would have been cool.
But you know what I didn't like about that scene? He couldn't do shit till he got that lightsaber.
I didn't appreciate that.
I didn't like that. He was getting his butt kicked.
I agree. He should have still wiped the floor with those guys, even without a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So speaking of the Knights of Ren, since they are probably another one of the big wastes of time in this trilogy, long ago Captain Phasma and some other people. Now, this is where I'm confused. When Ben destroys the temple, Luke says he takes some of his students with him. I would have assumed that the Knights of Ren were Force users because Luke wouldn't train regular warriors. That's not his job. That would have been the Rebels' job to do that, or the Empire's. That would not. You don't make a Jedi temple to train regular people. That's not what you do. He's training Force users. So if Ben is taking Luke's students, they're Force users. Why don't these guys have lightsabers? Why don't they have like Inquisitors?
I thought it was supposed to. I thought they were supposed to be former Luke's former students, and honestly, I think they abandoned that.
They did, and they said that the Knights of Ren had been around for hundreds of thousands of years, I guess. So, Last Jedi says that he took a handful of his students, and that was it. We don't know what happened to him. Actually, I think in canon they say something. But still, it's a bit plot hole.
Yeah, and that's yet another reason to scrap the whole trilogy. But I agree that the Knights of Ren could have been a great part of the story had Rian Johnson held on to them instead of giving us those guys in the red pajamas and all had, rolling around.
Hey, but JJ didn't do nothing with the Knights of Ren either.
Yeah,
just standing around.
It's like he tried to at the last part. Man, I think of J.J. Abrams trying to put together the Rise of Palpatine like a little kid when you first put him on ADHD medicine. It's like, oh, let's do this and let's do this and let's do this. Put this in, put this in. It's like, you can't do all that, buddy.
But what I don't get is also in the Rise of Palpatine, the Knights of Ren are loyal to Kylo Ren. He shows up and automatically they just start fighting him. Like, how did they even know that he turned? It doesn't make any sense. So now they're loyal to Palpatine?
I guess.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
And where did a million Sith come from?
That was really stupid. That was really stupid.
I said, Palpatine's in a stadium now? Is that what's happening here?
It was like it was Monday Night Football, man.
I was like, this is ridiculous. There's a cheering section, for Christ's sake, in Star Wars.
And where were all these Sith loyalists
Monday Night Football
before?
John 3:16. In the back.
Again, Rian Johnson, if you screw up the backbone of a trilogy, the middle film of a trilogy, you screwed it all up. You ruined the film preceding and the one coming after.
Yeah, I do not believe for 1 second Palpatine was a part of the plan.
Never.
I will never believe that.
No. That was just a cover-up. It was all just a cover-up. They all just covering for each other. But, in the end of the story, listen, JJ, he came back because he was pissed off. Let's face facts. He was angry at what Johnson did to his movie, what he did to his characters. Snoke was supposed to be the catalyst.
Yeah.
He was the one who was going to be the end. To me, it should have been Snoke, Luke, Rey, and Kylo. It should have been an epic lightsaber battle ending. And then I thought, okay, JJ's in a bad spot here because now you killed my main bad guy, and I got to try to do fan service. So I'll bring Lando in. I'll bring Palpatine back. Now I'm like, okay, if you bring Palps back, he's one of the best duelists ever. Why isn't he battling it out with them? Why is it? Oh, let me use my lightning. Oh, look. Oh, okay. I'm going to get you.
Yeah,
that isn't working. So we know what happened last time. If you use your lightsaber, let's say Count Dooku did it. It didn't work with Obi-Wan. Count Dooku did it. Didn't work with Yoda. Okay, great. So now we got to use our force powers. Yeah. Let's use our lightsabers. So we can't use our force powers. We're equal. Now we're going to duel it out. Yeah. So what happened? Why didn't he grab his lightsaber?
It's never a good idea to kill your main villain halfway through your second film in a trilogy.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, man. Rise of Palpatine made a little over $1 billion. I think the only reason they even crossed $1 billion is because they put Palpatine in the movie. If they didn't bring Palpatine back in this movie, that would probably be an $800 million movie. Maybe 700.
I think the other thing. I think the other thing too is because it was the end. Like I didn't go see it because I was like so super excited to see it. I said, I'm going to go see it because it's the last movie. I want to see how they're going to tie this all together. Because there's so many plot holes here. And JJ, let's face facts. We remember what happened with Lost. Anybody saw Lost? It didn't really answer all the questions. So I'm sitting there like, man, he's got a tough task here. He's going to have to try and figure out who's the bad guy now. And, the things he did with Ray, okay, her training, that's what we needed in the second movie.
That wasn't even really training. That was an obstacle course.
Yeah.
That wasn't even training.
Too little, too late. You can't train her in the last movie of a trilogy.
Yes.
And
you can't.
Then at that, she didn't even finish the course.
Well,
I mean, I guess maybe if you put a decade in between movies,
this
like
movie should have been
10 years has passed.
It should have been like 5 years at least. I mean, this is only 1 year later.
1 year,
This is ridiculous.
It was doomed.
Well,
it was doomed. No matter what.
Here's what happened when they announced before The Force Awakens came out. I wasn't doing YouTube, but I remember my brain was saying, okay, for all the videos I'm watching, they're saying that they're putting 3 different people in charge of a trilogy. This can't be good. This can't be good because my story is going to differ from John's story, is going to differ from Rhodes' story, is going to differ from Flipp's story. It's almost like telephone. It's like you ever play that game telephone when you were a kid and you sat in the front desk and you had to tell. And by the time it got to the last person, it was totally different message. To me, that's what was going to happen. And it's happened. It exactly what it was I was so afraid of would happen, did happen. It was like that telephone game.
Do you remember Doomcock coming out with the fact that there was a George Lucas cut?
Yeah.
And a Bob Iger cut and a Kathleen Kennedy Iger cut. So it's a lot like what you're saying there, Rob. Like there might have been all of those because of that very reason. People were vying, sort of like that show Survivor, for people to be on their team for their cause. And instead of everyone working together, everyone was trying to figure out how they could get their Star Wars made. Well, I can get my idea if I talk to Kathleen. No, I can get my idea if I talk to whoever, Iger. I think that's kind of what happened. And the only reason I think it got made, this particular cut went out, from what I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Bob Iger had a cut. He had JJ's final cut. That was what was going to go out, and then Iger went in that night and switched him out or something like that. And that sounds like a sneaky thing, but yeah,
I think you may be right. It's my understanding that JJ sat down to screen the movie and was like, "What is this?"
Yes, no, you remember hearing that?
Yeah. Literally, he was like, "I didn't edit this together this way." That he was actually like surprised. Evidently, there was a bunch of drama behind the scenes. And he was like, "No, I didn't have this edited this way."
It's like
that's interesting.
Yeah, and everybody had their own Star Wars they wanted to make. I think, and you asked this earlier, Rob. If we all, it's funny because he asked John, he asked me, and he asked you, Rhodes, if we could take and scrap the whole trilogy or just change it or whatever we'd want to do. We all answered pretty much the same way. I mean, if we were asked to do a Star Wars movie, I have a feeling that we would all agree for the most part. For
the most part, yeah. And I think, and to me, let's say I'm in charge, and I'm going to leave you 3, and you guys are going to write the movies and whatever. The bottom line was when you give it to me for approval, I should have a story already set. I should say, here's the story, here's where we want it to go. But we don't have the middle. I can't figure out the middle parts. But these are the characters. This is where I want it to start. This is how I want it to end. I need you guys to do the fill in.
Bingo.
Write what you can, and we'll work with it.
That's why I'm going to defend Rian Johnson on this one thing. That when he came in, he was shocked that they didn't have any direction for him where to go. So that's why every time I look at The Force Awakens, I was like, they just use this movie as a test movie. That's pretty much it. It seemed like a movie that they were just making, say, all right, let's see how it goes. And all right, the money's there, $2 billion. All right, let's get this Johnson guy in and let him do his own thing. I mean, you can't do that you got to give the director, first of all, these directors shouldn't be writing the movies as well either. That should have never happened.
Not unless you're Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, unless you're George Lucas, Nolan, James Cameron, somebody like that. Most directors don't write their own movies.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
That's right.
I mean, from what we all know, Rian Johnson is a competent director. He shouldn't have been writing The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, according to everything he's put out, he's done fine with everything, including after The Last Jedi.
Yeah, a lot of people love Knives Out.
Yeah, he's competent completely.
I liked Looper a lot.
Yeah, I originally did.
Honestly, I liked Looper so much that when I heard he was doing The Last Jedi, I was like, whoa, the Looper guy's about to do Star Wars? This ought to be good. I had no idea.
And didn't you say he directed the 2 best episodes of Breaking Bad?
Yes, and he directed what is known as the 2 greatest episodes of Breaking Bad ever. Yeah.
And one was a filler episode. They didn't have money, so they just... He didn't write it. He didn't write those 2 episodes. He directed them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he directed them. Correct.
And if I'm not mistaken,
but that's what a director's supposed to do.
If I'm not mistaken, I do believe that Rian Johnson has been on record that he's not the best writer. I think he's actually said that himself.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So why in the world would you let this guy write?
Well, he doesn't have a lot of creativity. Look how much of the movie he plagiarized from other places.
Oh, man. The end is a straight up rip off of Escape from L.A.
Correct.
100%. And I never saw Escape from L.A. and I watched the end of it and I was like, oh my God. You talking about unoriginal.
He was sitting up in the mountains, closed off in that cabin that he was supposedly in on top of a mountain doing like, it'd really make a good ending for this Star Wars movie.
Let's do Escape from LA and Star Wars.
God.
I got to say it's been a pleasure, but it is hitting that time for me to head on out. I got a ton of stuff to do. But listen, I was honored. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say this live. I was honored to have you 3 on here. You guys are like really to me. Okay. I don't know how I feel towards you, but you guys are like really close to me. And since I've been doing this, it's like I got on this to do Star Wars because I had a passion for it. I wanted to speak to a community. But as I've grown and I met you guys, my attitude's changed. It's like I met people here on this platform who I really enjoy talking to, who feel like a brother to me, who feel like a good friend to me. So I want to thank you guys since the beginning of being there. And when you guys do talk to me, I know how busy you guys are. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you taking your time to be here. And I appreciate when you take your time out for me. I just wanted to say that so you know how I feel. You don't hear it from a third party. I'm straight out saying it. I want you guys to know that, honestly.
Really do appreciate that.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah. I feel good hanging out.
It was fun. It was fun. This is
so
sort of
anyway,
putting the band back together,
Very much.
Yeah. I hope you guys will come back because I'd love to do that. I can't believe like almost 2 hours is over with. I'm like, what? I feel like I just got on with you guys. I'm like, how is that possible?
I'm surprised it's still on, man, because it was storming like hell here like 20 minutes ago.
It's now thundering here in Georgia.
I'm glad you made it. So I want you guys to plug your channels. If you want to drop them in the chat, please do. So we'll start with Rhodes. Tell them all about your channel, Rhodes Rants. Go ahead, my friend.
My channel is Rhodes Rants. I do Star Wars. I do political videos now, and I do whatever else I find interesting. If you come to my channel, be prepared for a redneck to rant about something. Please subscribe, and thank you for having me on, Rob. Mr. Doubt.
Oh.
All right. Well, if you come to my channel, there may or may not be a new video, but it'll definitely be very original, possibly insulting, maybe funny.
Guaranteed funny.
Yeah, more likely funny. But whatever gets you flipped out. And I'm focused a lot more right now on the FC. Doesn't mean I've left my channel to only just sit there and collect dust, but check me out there or at the FC, and get all stupid and hammed up with me.
If you don't know what the FC is, it's the Fandom Collective, and it's him and Rookie Critic and some other people, and I think your kids are involved, and they shout out, my God, God knows how many YouTube channels, the newest channels that come out, the older channels, the more popular, the mid-size. It doesn't matter what channel it is or how big it is or how small it is. They shout it out. They're great. They have their own channel. They do live streams, so you should check them out, the Fan Collective, if you haven't. And thank you for many times you've shouted me out. I really appreciate it, Flipp.
You got it.
Let's talk to the smoothest man on YouTube, Mr. John Matrixx.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm pretty much covering a lot of the same stuff that Rhodes covers. Star Wars stuff, not so much lately. My Star Wars videos don't do that good. The political spectrum is kind of hot right now, so I'm doing that. And really, I'm focusing a lot of my efforts right now on the podcast because I believe that's truly the future. So I have a podcast up on pretty much your major platforms, and also have a YouTube channel, the Matrixx Hour Podcast, as well for video format. And I'm able to go much more in depth than I can on a YouTube video, regular YouTube video, I should say. So podcast anywhere from 30 minutes to around 30 minutes on average now, I would say. So that's it.
Also, to let you know, because they didn't want to say it, so I'm going to say it for them. Rhodes and John have also another channel. It's called Black and White Sports, if you haven't checked that out. Honestly, and Rhodes has a third channel. I figured you did. I didn't, because I'm a part of that. So
can we get some sports back?
I know, man. We haven't been uploading much because there's not much of any sports.
Right.
Well, if you haven't checked out hockey, I know the NHL has put out their playoff format, which is 24 NHL teams. If you want to check that out, that's pretty. That would be some good news. I know the basketball is also debating right now what they're going to do with their season. So they're in talks trying to figure something out for how they're going to end it. I'm assuming the same kind of format, but that's maybe you guys want to check that out. I mean, that's what I saw come across the board. Also, Rhodes, you have a third channel, don't you? About weightlifting. Am I correct?
Well,
no,
I did, but we just went through 9 weeks of the gym being shut down, so that shut that channel down too. You know,
man, you should be sore, man, because you just started.
Well, will you be getting into that once things go back?
I am sore. I hit 4 workouts in the last 6 days. Yeah. So I'm pretty
maybe
sore.
Will you be getting back into that channel like when things go back to normal?
Yeah, when things settle down, business is picked way up for me in the last week. And so I mean, I actually did not put out a video Friday or a video Saturday, which is insane. I never miss a day. And I missed 2 full days on YouTube on Rhodes Rants. Made up. I put 3 out today. Nobody worry. But I mean, yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough.
Well, look, we all need a break sometimes from it, and I've taken breaks. I've put out a video here and then put a video 4 days later. It happens. Everybody needs a break. Yeah. Life happens, you know.
I've been doing like every other day.
If you haven't checked out John Matrixx, you haven't checked out Black and White Sports, you haven't checked out Flipped Out or Rhodes Rants, please do. Please subscribe. Please check out their channels. After this video, when it comes up, probably by tomorrow, because it usually takes about 12 hours.
No, it's taking a very long time to process live streams.
Yeah, I'll put all their channels in the link. I'll put all the links to the channels in the description, so you won't have to worry about that. But thanks, everybody. I'm going to cut out of here. And be well, be safe, and thank you, everybody, for being here. Thanks, Flipp, John, and Rhodes. I hope we can do it again.
Peace. We're out.
All right, later. I was waiting for that. Robert? Hold on, I'm going to end it now. If it ends, hold on, I got to wait.